He said early in the interview earlier today, he said that Glenn Griff will do the job for him out there today. So, but let's hope he does for Newcastle's sake.
Matthew John's on screen there at the moment. I just feel as though he's getting back to some pretty good form in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, no bloke works better than Matthew Johns on his skills, and he's certainly a great player, and Newcastle need him to perform today to get the points here today.
Canterbury won the toss and have elected to defend the Canterbury Road end of the ground. Terry Lamb, Craig Polla-Mounter, as we also mentioned, in magnificent form in the last couple of weeks. There was a fair bit of discussion early whether Terry Lamb should have made a comeback, but he's done that, and he's just really working himself into some great form. You can never write off Terry Lamb. He's there, the best backer-upper in the game, if there ever is such a word. We're underway here. 40 minutes of pulsating footy in this opening stanza as it's down to Lamb, and Canterbury now hit it out of their own 20, and Tony Butterfield's there along with Glenn Grief to make the tackle. Excellent conditions, the breeze really crapping across field here.
Yeah, it's blowing across field and it's favouring Canterbury in the first half, I believe. Actually, when you look out there, the flags have dropped a little bit, so, you know, but whatever breeze there is out there is favouring Canterbury.
Big Darren, Britt, Hetherington, Polla-Mounter gives it back to the Canterbury player, and he works it, and that is the number 11 in Robert Relf. Now the kick coming, and Lamb has been unceremoniously upended by Darren Treacy down to Robbie O'Davis, who has to go back to field the ball, and Hetherington's there to make the tackle. So the Knights with their first chance of the afternoon. Chief, what are conditions like on the sideline?
Yeah, conditions are pretty good, Rabs. It's a slight breeze going across the field, but that was a good first set of 6 by us in defence, and a good day for the game, and I really expect us to peak today.
Glenn Grief working it back to the 40-metre mark. Lee Jackson, now Tony Butterfield. There's some solid defence there from Canterbury too. Robert Tocco. And now to Andrew Johns, the kick. And a great take there by Damien Ford. Now Ford and Hazem El Masri have switched positions. El Masri playing at fullback. Interesting story about this young bloke. He didn't take up rugby league until 3 years ago. Preferred to play soccer up until that stage. He came to Canterbury and was their President's Cup Player of the Year in his first year in rugby league. A big effort, and there's big raps on this kid.
Yeah, and what I've seen of him, he goes all right. He's got plenty of speed, and he's also got all the skills that are needed in rugby league.
So Canterbury back towards the halfway. Butterfield making the tackle on Simon Gillies, and they're still on halfway, and that's good solid defence from Newcastle. Glenn Grief will be very keen to see as much time on the paddock today as possible. Lamb with a kick. Robbie O'Davis in good position, and the chasers are there. Now he gets around Hetherington, straightens the point of attack. Got around another attempted tackle there by Robert Relf. Made a few metres, good run there by O'Davis. Glanville. And the penalty comes, the first penalty of the match to Newcastle. Canterbury up inside the 10. And Eddie Wood in charge of the game this afternoon. And let's hope that he keeps them apart, because we're going to see a great game of footy if he does.
Well, that's what we need. We need them to keep apart the 10 metres, and we will see a lot of attacking football.
Andrew Johns, that's an enormous kick. He takes play 25 metres out from the Canterbury line. Chief, gee, it must be great to have a player like Andrew Johns in the side when you can get distance like that.
Yeah, it's essential. His kicking game's been terrific. Just see in the first part of the game there, it's the side who makes the first mistake. There you go. Well, here we go. Got a bit of a break.
Jackson, back to Robbie O'Davis. It was Grief that unloaded. O'Davis spun out of one tackle. 19 metres out, Newcastle. Right in front of the uprights. Jackson at dummy half. Matthew Johns. Good solid defence, but he was able to stand in that tackle. If there had been support, he could have offloaded Jackson now to Andrew Johns. Stepped off the left. Tough as teeth, the little halfback stands 10 metres out from the Canterbury line. Jackson to Matthew Johns. Cuts out one to Ainscough. Gives it back inside to Beauchamp. Beauchamp's close. Beauchamp is awfully close and held up over the line. Good solid defence by Canterbury, but again Ainscough and Beauchamp combining out wide.
Yeah, it's a good backline movement from Newcastle. A good ball from Johns out to Ainscough, and he put the ball back inside to Beauchamp, and unfortunately for Newcastle he was held up over the line, but certainly moving the ball around Newcastle.
Terry Lamb, one of the defenders there, also El Masri, and no doubt about that, a good decision. So the Knights get the ball back from the scrum win. Ainscough trying to link up. There's an overlap here. O'Davis gives it out to Grogan. Grogan's got a score. So they stretch it from one side to the other on the first play the ball after the scrum win, and Brett Grogan scores in the corner on the right-hand side, the grandstand side of Belmore, to give the Knights the opening try of the match.
It's a great try for Newcastle. Lovely ball from Ainscough coming across the field. He picks up Robbie O'Davis, who unloads to Grogan, who just finishes off the movement into the corner and fends off an easy tackle there and just puts the ball down for a good try for Newcastle.
For Harragon's sideline, Brett Grogan seems to do it so casually with great use of the ball by the Knights.
Yeah, it was. We had a terrific start. I'm very happy the way we started there. They made the first mistake and we really made them pay. Should have been a try earlier on, but I just feel today we've trained very well, very sharp all week with the ball work. I expect this to be our best game as far as our set play is concerned, and that was just great work there, spreading us straight away early in the tackle count. Good try.
How hard is it sitting on the sideline?
Well, I find it hard to even talk. I'm a little nervous and I'll concentrate on the game, but as I said before, this is going to be a very important game for us, and the way we've started so far, them making the first mistake, just little things like that make a difference. It was like a game of chess. Our go forward was great, our defence has been good, our spur of the line's been good, so all the little things that you know the team's going to play well is happening so far, so I'm very happy with the start.
Andrew Johns, a reasonably difficult kick. We're right behind at our commentary position. He has a tremendous record in 1996, does Andrew Johns, trying to convert the Brett Grogan try. Moves in, and it's across the face. The wind just taking it away. So after 6 minutes of play, 5.5 minutes of play here at the Belmore Sports Ground, the Newcastle Knights lead the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs 4-0. The battle of the kickers this afternoon, Daryl Halligan and Andrew Johns. That should be a beauty, worth the admission money. And here's Glanville hitting it back for Newcastle, and a great start for the Knights. Yeah,
great start for the Knights. And I was just about to ask Paul, is it in the game plan today, Paul, for you to move the ball around the park? I've noticed in the first 2 sets of 6 that you've been shifting the ball nice and wide.
Well, it is, but I can certainly tell you Mel wants us to get the go forward right first and play the percentage game, but we need the scoreboard ticking over, and when the boys see an opportunity, they've got to take it. That's what they've been told.
Adam Muir with the ball for Newcastle. Some strong reports that he's been headhunted by a couple of clubs, one of those being North Sydney. Jackson at dummy half. They go to the left. Treacy straight through the hole. Darren Treacy, but a desperate tackle there by Terry Lamb. Last tackle for Newcastle. Andrew Johns with a kick into general play over the head of Masri. And it's going into the in-goal area. He fields it now, and the chase is a pretty good one from Newcastle. Grogan's there along with Godden, and they force him back and bring him to ground 5 metres out from his own line. Well, Darren Treacy just opened the Bulldogs. It was a desperate tackle by Terry Lamb to stop him, and he had support either side too. Polla-Mounter. And the Knights caught up inside the 10, so 1-1 as far as the penalties.
Yeah, one thing about Darren Treacy, he's played the balls exceptionally fast, and that's what Newcastle need, that quick play the ball.
Polla-Mounter took the quick tap, caught the Knights napping. He's taken play 8 metres from the halfway. Johnny Timu. And they wrap him up 5 from the halfway. Hetherington, Lamb, Tocco. Had the arms free to give the pass to. The support was standing flat. Hetherington scampers a couple from dummy half. An underrated player, Jason Hetherington. Lamb once again. Polla-Mounter. He kicks in behind the defence. Robbie O'Davis just watching it go dead in goal. Good judgment, and the Knights will get the restart at the 20.
Yeah, great positional player, Robbie O'Davis. He's a great player at the back of the Newcastle Knights Newcastle side, and no better player to have there if you're playing fullback. You'd love to have Robbie Davis behind you.
Then Griffin, and that's solid defence from the Bulldogs. And they've got the ball now. Surely that has got to be a penalty, is it? It is. Stripping the ball.
Thank you, Eddie Ward, seeing that.
How do the players feel about this decision, Chief? I know there's been a fair bit of comment regarding it in the media. How do the players feel about the rule of stripping the ball?
Well, I think that's a classic case. When you've got 2 or 3 blokes in the tackle and they rip the ball off, that's when it originally was brought in for, and I think that's a good ruling. But, it's touch and go now. The bloke drops the ball, it's a penalty. It's really hard to rule, but that was a classic example.
And now Canterbury up inside the 10 once again. Penalty count 3-1 in favour of the Knights as Andrew Johns finds touch 12 metres into Canterbury territory. Butterfield. He's had his fair share of injuries over the last couple of years, but injury-free so far in 96 and playing good footy. Mark Glanville, one of the veterans, one of the originals for the Newcastle Knights, who win the comp in 88. Matthew Johns. Back inside to Adam Muir. And Robert Tocco hasn't moved, and pointing to the player is Johnny Timu, and all players race to him, and he just hasn't moved after that. They roll him on his side, and he is in a bit of a bad way, Robert Tocco. We saw that yesterday in the North Sydney game, Neil Baker, where the players raced to Matt Sears. And it's good to see that the players have got some knowledge as we have a look at it again.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's what we need. You know, the referee has to pull up those sort of things, and you know, there's too much of grabbing the ball away from the play of the ball and just moving on. And obviously Tocco's copped the knee in the head there, and he's obviously received a bad bit of a concussion or been knocked around, so it's good for the referee to pull the game up.
And we can just see it there, and yes, it was the left knee of Adam Muir, and ironically Adam Muir is receiving some attention on the knee for that crash, and he's limping rather badly too, and that was a bit of a shocker here at Belmore. The Newcastle Knights lead Canterbury 4-0. We've had 10 minutes of play, and they are calling for the stretcher for Robert Tocco.
Airline of the Year at the National Tourism Industry Awards. We congratulate them and we thank them for their support.
Robert Tocco coming to the sideline now, where the stretchers did go out, but he regained consciousness and is being helped, albeit in a fairly sorry way. And you hate to see that in footy, but it's part and parcel of the game, I suppose, Bakes.
Yeah, you hate to see it, and as you said, having a look at the replay, Adam Muir's knee accidentally hit him in the head, but as he went down to the ground, he also crashed his head onto the ground too, so he's copped it both ways there.
And Adam Muir is not fit at all. He's limping back in a position, and it wouldn't surprise me if he comes off the ground fairly shortly. Andrew Johns thought about switching play, throws the long pass to Ainscough. Ainscough trying to get on the outside of Stephen Hughes, but throws it in a touch behind Keith Beauchamp.
Yeah, Adam Muir's coming off now. I just hope we settle down now. That play wasn't necessary. We just need to settle down a little bit and get back on our feet.
You say that, Paul. I think Jamie has got a tendency to overdo it on occasions, hasn't he?
Well, without him, he's our strike player and he does score a lot of tries, but yeah, at times like this we really need just to consolidate and get the ball going again. With a disruption like that, we need to settle down.
So Canterbury trying to work it out of their own 20. Only the one score in the match. You try to Brett Grogan for Newcastle, Polla-Mounter. Some solid defence there from Billy Peden, and also Robbie O'Davis up on the defensive line. It's Newton for Canterbury, replacing Robert Tocco. Hetherington, Polla-Mounter. Canterbury trying to work it towards the halfway. Arms free, couldn't throw the pass. That was Glenn Hughes. Polla-Mounter, Britt, offloads to Lamb, towards the sidelines. I thought Halligan was in an offside position, but he's got the ball. Last tackle now coming up for Canterbury. They're still 9 metres from the halfway. Polla-Mounter looking to put the kick in, does so. Robbie O'Davis in good position again. Back to field it now. The chasers are there. Robbie O'Davis, and that's a good kick chase by Canterbury.
Yeah, very good kick chase from Canterbury, and that's what they needed to keep a bit of pressure on Newcastle, because it has been all Newcastle in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Beauchamp with the ball for Newcastle. Jackson, Glanville, he hits it up for one. Hughes makes the tackle along with Relf. Butterfield, 3 defenders drag him to ground. Hetherington around the shoelaces. Andrew Johns. Matthew Johns gives a good ball to Godden. No support. 30 metres out from their own line. Peden back to Andrew Johns for the kick now. It's a spiralling torpedo punt. And Damien Ford puts it on the deck, but it went behind him. And he thought about throwing the pass here for a moment, and that's some good solid defence again from Newcastle. 20 from the halfway, the Bulldogs. Halligan, the crowd calling for Newcastle to be beaten for inside the 10. And I thought a couple of them were offside again that time too, Chief. Is it a ploy there just to move up on Ward's outside if you can?
Well, you've got to move up as the ball hits the ground. I think we're doing that. It's pretty close though. You just see Canterbury now, the last couple of sets, they're just starting to try to get their arms free. When they offload, they're very dangerous, and it's just starting to happen now. It's a danger for the Knights.
Lamb with a kick in behind the defence. It'll go into touch, 21 metres out from the Knights line. The Knights will get the feed. So a bit of enterprise there by Canterbury. Lamb just trying to settle his side down a bit.
Yeah, that's the first time Canterbury's put a completion or a set of 6 together where they are unloading the football, because I thought Newcastle's defence in the first 10 minutes has been outstanding. They've been stopping their go forward, which is exactly what they need to do.
Andrew Johns just giving some instructions to his troops. 21 metres out from his own line as he feeds the ball for Newcastle. Cuts out Keith Beauchamp. Now Matthew Johns decides to go straight ahead. And he presents some difficulties when he runs at the defence with that tremendous stepping of his. The Canterbury defence just moving up very quickly at the moment.
Yeah, well, Matthew Johns, he's got great footwork. Both the Johns boys have got great footwork, and they're very hard to defend against.
Peden, 29 out. And Canterbury moving up awfully quickly. And Britt with a good run. Jackson. Andrew Johns, the long cutout pass to brother. Oh, and there was a high shot on Robbie O'Davis that allowed to go. Last tackle now coming up for the Newcastle Knights. Ainscough, he puts it on the toe. Deep into Canterbury territory. Gee, that's a great kick from Jamie Ainscough, and he puts everyone inside Beauchamp with a good chase. And they drag him towards the sideline. And Canterbury restart about 11 out from their own line. Halligan in from the opposite wing. Peden's there to make the tackle along with Andrew Johns. A good kick by Ainscough.
Yeah, that was excellent work from Jamie Ainscough. Great kick, and he backed it up with a great chase and put the Newcastle side in a good attacking position.
Newton. Britt plays it to Hetherington. Lamb. On to Relf. Last tackle now for Canterbury. They're still in their own half. Now the kick coming from Lamb. The crowd having plenty to say here, Paul Harragon.
Yeah, they're blowing up consistently here, Rabs. I think that's what they're supposed to do. The game's interesting now. It's on the balance. You're just starting to offload a little bit more, Canterbury. Starting to get that roll on. And when they're like that, they're hard to beat. We've really got to control that.
Darren Treacy. Just short of the halfway, Newcastle. Billy Peden puts them over the advantage line, so to speak, into Canterbury territory by 5. Jackson, his first scamper from dummy half. And gee, I'd like to see him do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, same here. That's what he needs to do. He gets out of dummy half, and that keeps Newcastle on a roll, and that's what they need to do.
Quick tap by Matthew. And a very ordinary pass to Jamie Ainscough. And he's pinged Canterbury for inside the 10 again.
Well, the crowd's booing for that because they've been asking Ward for a penalty, for the last 10 minutes to go for them, and now they've got a couple against them in the space of 2 minutes, so they're not really happy with it, the Canterbury-Bankstown crowd.
Actually, it'd be good to have a look at that again, if it's possible, to see how far they're offside, because I thought they were a mile offside.
So Eddie Ward right on the spot. It's given Andrew a chance for a shot. Dead set in front of the sticks. We've had 16 minutes of play in the match. Here it is again, the replay. And there's Mitch Newton. He's dead set, 10 off too.
Yeah, as you can see there, he caught the ball about 2 metres behind the line there, and Mitch Newton was already up there, so well offside. Good decision though. It shows a good head on Eddie Ward. He's been copping a lot of pressure from the people, or from the crowd, so that was a good decision by him.
You wouldn't suggest that Paul Harragon would probably send a copy of that comment to Eddie Ward for future reference, folks?
A little bit of
Eddie, he's given me a hard time over the years, but he's I think he's going well today, and that decision was a good one.
You got a chance to wrap all the referees down there today, Paul.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Andrew Johns now in front, 22 metres out. Moves in, strikes it pretty well, but it hits the upright. Play on. Damien Ford No knock on, he says. Play on. So Canterbury with a let off. And Polla-Mounter puts it on the deck. Play on. The Newcastle Knights back in possession. It was Masri that put it on the deck. Grief. Johns. The defence come at him. Stephen Hughes was one of the tacklers along with Mitch Newton. Grief. He hits it up again. Oh, and upended there by Hetherington, and they backslam him 20 metres out from the Canterbury line. The crowd really getting into it now. Peden turns it back for Jackson. Andrew Johns and Robbie O'Davis puts it on the deck. So both sides guilty of making some errors.
Yeah, I think both sides are just going a little bit too quick. They're making too many mistakes. I think if they slow themselves down a little bit, I think they'll be far better off.
Darren Britt. Good tackle there by the pocket dynamo from Cessnock, Billy Peden. Hetherington just serves up a short ball. And Relf's taken the ground about a metre into Knights territory. Short side and Newton once again. Taking on the backs, gets a good ball away. Grogan puts it on the deck. And Canterbury all get the feed. So the crowd really getting into it here at Belmore. And the Knights had an opportunity after some solid defence to make an attack. Here's this ball from Mitch Newton.
Yeah, good ball around the corner from Newton, but Grogan had his hand in the way there to stop a dangerous situation for Newcastle then.
It was a great set of six there by Canterbury. They put Newcastle on a lot of pressure then. I thought they were going to score then. That was a great credit to them. They got the ball back and they're ready to attack now, so they're going well.
Johnny Timu, Polla-Mounter, Lamb, spreading it out through the backs to Stephen Hughes. Off the right, arms free, gave it back to Masri. He hits it up again. Polla-Mounter, Glenn Hughes, looking to link up with Hetherington, does so. 15 metres out now, Canterbury. Polla-Mounter through the dummy, 5 metres out the Dogs. Simon Gillies at dummy half. Hughes spreads it along the back line. Timu to Stephen Hughes it is. Stands. Good tackle over there by Robbie O'Davis. Last tackle now for Canterbury. Back towards the grandstand. Lamb sticks it high in the air. Robbie O'Davis in very good position and takes it comfortably. But good attack again by the Bulldogs, putting a lot of pressure on Newcastle. Yeah,
it was good attack. Well, I think the kick from Terry Lamb wasn't well executed. And again, Robbie O'Davis in perfect position to save the situation for Newcastle, stop a situation for Canterbury scoring.
Lee Jackson wanted to get on with it very quickly, but the rest of the players wanted to take a bit of a breather, Paul Harragon.
Yeah, it took a little bit out of the boys the last couple of sets, but just smells danger now. Canterbury are starting, as I said before, starting to offload. They're starting to feel comfortable with their players, and as I mentioned, it was a poor kick executed at the end there, didn't save them, but I expect us now, we've got to lift. We've got to do more work in defence, and their play the balls are too quick. That's the real danger for them. When they play quick play the balls, they start offloading, and they're a completely different side.
Here's Andrew Johns, gave a good ball to Billy Peden, who leaves it behind. Canterbury in possession. Darren Britt offloads to Hetherington. Timu was up there, gave it out to Glenn Hughes, who was collared and thrown aground 5 metres back inside Knights territory. Forward. Now here's Mitch Newton, and Billy Peden goes in with another big hit.
Great defence from Billy Peden. As you said, a pocket dynamite, but he's a great tackler.
Darren Britt makes some good metres for the Bulldogs. 31 out. Hetherington again. Hughes looking to link up with Robert Relf, does so. Still going, got the arms free. Masri is there, and Masri's dragged down 5 metres out from the Knights line. Hughes throws the long pass to Polla-Mounter, to Terry Lamb. Quickly out to Timu. Timu to Halligan. Grogan's there. Halligan scores a try for Canterbury. Well, the pressure had to tell for Newcastle. Canterbury just on a roll the last 3 sets of 6. They spread the ball from one side of the field to the other, and Daryl Halligan, the winger, scores in the corner for Canterbury.
Yeah, great try for Canterbury. Couple of long balls, a good ball from Polla-Mounter. Passed it out to the veteran Terry Lamb, who unloaded a great ball to Timu. And he drew in the tacklers and threw the ball to Halligan, who held off a couple of strong tackles from Grogan. I thought Grogan should have went a bit lower than that, and he scored a great try for Canterbury.
Here it is again, Paul Harragon. You can't let Canterbury any latitude. They love to spread the ball.
That's right, Mike. As you can see there, they're when they get an opportunity, Lamb always converts. But that try, that started from early on. We don't want to play touch football with this, Bob, because they're very good at it. Early on, when Andrew Johns made the break, it just would have been good to consolidate and complete that set of 6, because we've been under a bit of pressure. And as you pointed out before, some of our forwards are looking a little tired, like Tony Butterfield has worked very hard. So we've really got to settle down, not play touch football with these guys.
Daryl Halligan, one of the best kickers in the game. That's his 4th try for 1996. He's kicked 20 goals for 52 points. And you would expect that if Canterbury had it going a lot better, his point tally would be a lot higher than this. It'll be a long time since Daryl Halligan's played 13 rounds of a competition, only had 52 points on the board. But that was a good, strong try scored by the winger. He's got a very difficult kick to convert his own try. Moves in, strikes it, and looks good, and just sneaks in the right-hand upright. So Canterbury hit the lead here at the Belmore Sports Ground with 18 minutes remaining in the first half. Canterbury lead Newcastle 6 points to 4. Well, the Bulldogs have hit back. That ball from Andrew Johns to Billy Peden, who was packing up. They just dropped it on the ground. Canterbury scored.
Yeah, well, I just thought that Grogan should have went a bit lower in the defence department there. I thought he had an opportunity to go around Halligan's legs and probably save the try then, but he went a bit too high and Halligan just pushed him off.
Lamb plays the ball for Canterbury, and the Knights pinged up inside the 10. Well, in actual fact, it might have been an infringement in the play of the ball from Jackson. They take their quick tap to Darren, Britt for Canterbury, and they just love to get on with the game, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they love the game to be moving at a fast pace, and that's what they're all about.
Looking to offload at every opportunity. Solid defence there from Tony Butterfield and Mark Glanville. Short side. Darren Britt again gives it out to Halligan. Halligan down the sideline. Got support inside. That was a half a yard forward anyway. Andrew Johnson's got it offloads to Robbie O'Davis. One end of the other stuff. Gives an ordinary pass. Jamie Ainscough with it. Throws the ball over to Keith Beauchamp. It's turning into a touch footy game, and all of a sudden the ball's gone forward, and Canterbury will get the feed 20 metres out from the Knights line. I
can't believe Newcastle had an opportunity then to consolidate himself and slow the game down, but they wanted to play, as Paul Harragon keeps saying, they're playing like touch football, and they want to move the ball all around the park. It's not needed, and they need to slow themselves down, because Canterbury will make them pay for that.
Here's the pass from Jamie Ainscough now. He's called that's floated forward. Well, I can't see that from here. Loaded by Tony Butterfield on the sideline. And Chief, as you said before, we just don't need to get caught in the same trap. Here they go again, the Bulldogs straight through, and Stephen Hughes is going to score the try. Right adjacent to the left-hand upright. Well, that's come from another Newcastle Knights error. The forward pass called on Jamie Ainscough to Beauchamp, and Canterbury, with the first play of the ball from the scrum win, Stephen Hughes has just cut straight through the defence, and they've scored next to the uprights.
Yeah, well, as I just said, that Newcastle didn't need to force the pass there, and from that ensuing scrum, Hughes has made them pay for it, and that's what it's all about. It's mistakes create problems, and Canterbury have made them pay for it and scored a great try.
Did he drop that ball over the line then? If you have another look, it looks a little bit suspect to me.
Let's have a look at it, Chief.
No, he's put that down. That's fine.
Well, that's what we were saying, Paul Harragon, that we just cannot allow Canterbury to run at their own game or run their own game, because they can cut any side in the competition to pieces. That's why they are the defending champions.
Yeah, you've got to give them credit. They're a great side. They're like two different sides. When they play the ball quick and they're on top of things and offloading, I tell you, there's not too many sides in defensively who can handle it. They're a very good side, and you can tell by the looks in their face, these blokes really want it. They're very, very keen. This is going to be a great afternoon of football, because the Newcastle Knights, our blokes, we know how important this game is to us for the next 6 games. I expect to see a big uplift in effort, and I think before half-time we need to score at least twice.
Adam Muir back on the park for the Newcastle Knights. Billy Peden has a rest along with Tony Butterfield as Andrew Johns gets the game underway. Canterbury lead 12 points to 4. 15 minutes remaining in this first half, and it's been a crackerjack game so far as Robert Relf runs it out for the Bulldogs. Simon Gillies. 20 metres from the halfway, Canterbury. Mitch Newton, he's played strongly since coming on.
He has, he's unloads, and that's what he's doing again. He's unloading the football, and that's what Canterbury like doing. They like going forward all the time.
Gillies with the ball again, 5 from the halfway. Darren Britt. Only knows one way to go, Darren Britt. That's dead set straight ahead, made another good 10 metres. Lamb thought about the kick, decided to spread the ball. Polla-Mounter saw a little gap, Bradley Godden goes high, has been pinged.
I think that's a bit tough, really. That was a good tackle from Godden. I thought he hit him more than all and just slid up. That's a crowd penalty, this one.
Oh, that'll do me. That was a great chest tackle. Have a look at this.
That was a good tackle. He just slid up off his shoulders.
So the penalty will go to Canterbury, and Daryl Halligan will have another shot for goal. 35 metres out, 15 in from touch.
We've somehow got to try and work out a way to slow them down a bit. When they get that roll on, yards come easy, the offloads are there, and they're just hard to contain. So either we've got to get back a little quicker and get our speed of a line up so we can get into their faces, or try and slow that play of the ball down. It's essential that we do that.
Mitch Newton's causing havoc out there. Paulie's offloads. Since he's come on, he's creating a lot of problems for the Newcastle defence with his offloads.
That's right. As I said before, they're like two completely different sides. Watching the videos of them this week when they play Eastern Suburbs, Britt got 9 offloads, which is a huge amount in one game, and so did Newton. So when they're on that sort of a pattern of play, you know, it's like a signal to say to you that, you know, it's danger time. We've really got to stop them for doing that, and I think it's going to take a big effort to stop that roll and to play the balls. It's something big's got to happen there.
Daryl Halligan about to move in as Adam Muir comes off the park. Billy Peden going back on. Moves in now. Strikes at a pretty ordinary attempt. But it's over. Well, I thought that was going wide and right because of off the boot. It looks an absolute shocker. But Daryl Halligan gets the penalty and Canterbury now lead by 10 points. 14 points to 4 with 13 left in the first half. 14 points to 4 here at the Belmore Sports Ground. 12 minutes remaining in this first half. Canterbury have put the last 14 points on the board after Newcastle scored first. Paul Marquardt on for Newcastle. That'll stiffen the defence up around the ruck area. Polla-Mounter, Lamb, no, it's Robert Relf. He's nearly through the gap again. Newcastle falling off some tackles as big Mitch Newton takes it up towards the halfway. 3 tackles and they're already up to the halfway. Lamb sees Robbie O'Davis up on the line, sticks it straight over the melon of Robbie O'Davis. Polla-Mounter coming to him. O'Davis gets around one, gives it off to Grogan. So Newcastle, instead of going to the ground, taking a few tackles, are looking to offload even in their own half.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I think they've got to go back to the basics and start going forward a bit and just slowing the tempo of the game down a bit.
Billy Peden took it one hand, works it to 15 metres from the halfway. Marquardt right around the bootlaces, the tackle from Canterbury's Glenn Hughes. Newcastle put it behind them, but play on. O'Davis offloads again. Canterbury moving up so quickly in defence. Newcastle not going anywhere. Last tackle now. Andrew Johns. Another spiralling punt kick right over the head of El Masri, and that's a very, very long kick indeed. That's 70 metres.
It's a good chase with it. That's exactly what they need.
They upend him 15 metres out from his own line. Damien Ford to Halligan. He looks a bit inspired. They push him back a couple of metres, so no ground gain for the Bulldogs. Terry Lamb coming off for a spell. And that's a good run there by the replacement. And Stephen Reardon.
The play the balls from Canterbury are far superior than Newcastle at this stage, and that's why their go forward is so strong.
Polla-Mounter, Robbie O'Davis in good position. Polla-Mounter puts everyone on side and makes the tackle. Effective enough for the others to get there.
And Newcastle change number 8, Sonny Butterfield on the field.
Darren Treacy puts it down. Paul, one of the things that Newcastle seem to be doing at the moment, I don't know whether they're out of gas, but they seem to be walking back into position as we watch Darren Treacy put it down, although there may have been a hand in there.
Yeah, certainly out of gas. That last 3 or 4 sets of 6, the passage of play there, they've had all the ball and they're playing the ball at exceptional speed. It's just hard to get back and try and make a dent in them. So we're suffering a little bit at the moment. It's going to take a big effort, I tell you, to get over the top of their attack. It's really good at the moment.
Terry Lamb just having a breather for Canterbury. And here they are again, just throwing it around. Timu with the ball, heading over towards the Peter scoreboard side. Hetherington, he's been in absolutely everything in this first half. Quick play the ball again. Darren Britt at dummy half. Gives it out to Simon Gillies. Collared there by Ainscough. And unceremoniously back slammed, and that hurt a bit.
Tell you what, that's exactly what we needed. That's inspirational from Tony Butterfield.
Simon Gillies still on his back, just slowly getting to his feet now. 28 metres out. Matthew Gidley on the sideline warming up for Newcastle. Polla-Mounter with a flat ball to Glenn Hughes. Took it well. Mitch Newton. They've got an overlap again, Canterbury. Stephen Hughes to Halligan, who was flirting with the sideline. Mitch Newton again. He thinks he's playing halfback today, Mitch Newton.
He's having a great game, isn't he? He's in everything at the moment.
El Masri. Polla-Mounter goes to the air, holding up in the breeze. Beauchamp's there, Canterbury there, and it was Simon Gillies who knocked it over, and Canterbury, and the touch judge knocked straight into touch, and he's down on his back, a bit of a smile too from that touch. He sticks the flag in the air and he's got a bit of a smile. Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, it was a high kick. It was a nothing kick again from Canterbury. That's probably, at the moment, that's the only part of their game that's lacking, is their kick and chase game, and lucky for Newcastle, it was just a nothing kick.
Beauchamp came from Illawarra to join the Hunter Mariners, linked up with the Knights and has been playing very well. 12 from the halfway is Darren Treacy. 8 away from Oranges. Mitch Newton, some heavy defence there, along with Darren Britt on Mark Glanville.
That was a great tackle, and it's caused I think he was a bit unlucky there, Glanville, with the ball. I think it was knocked out of his hand by the Canterbury player.
Stephen Price, sponsored by Handing.
Here it is again.
And a score update thanks to TTV, Parramatta, 14, Brisbane 10.
There's definitely a hand gone in there from Britt. So a bit unlucky, Glanville.
It's going to be a tough set of 6 for us, this one.
Timu. Troy Fletcher is on for Newcastle in jumper number 29. Darren Treacy having a sit on the bench. Masri. That was Stephen Price offloading. Here's Darren Britt. 35 out. Polla-Mounter. Relf. He's run with great gusto in this first half. Hetherington. Polla-Mounter cuts out one. Glenn Hughes sights a little gap. Fletcher's got him. Glenn Hughes got the ball away to brother Stephen. Put behind him, and Beauchamp's in possession for the Knights.
Yeah, lucky to be let off the hook again, Newcastle. Canterbury's playing great, enterprising football, and at every opportunity they're trying to attack the Newcastle try line.
Just to note, as Newcastle's coming out there, I think Adam Muir's injury is a little bit more serious than we think. It seems to be the back of his knee, not so much than a cork.
He tried to come back on Paul, but was quickly back on the sideline.
Yeah, I think they might have done a little bit of damage to his knee, which is unfortunate.
Troy Fletcher, one of the stars in the reserve grade grand final win last year, playing it for Newcastle. Matthew Johns gets the ball behind him to Lee Jackson. Now Grogan, first half try scorer, thought about offloading the support, wasn't there. Last tackle now. They're inside Canterbury territory. Andrew Johns. There wasn't a great deal of support there for Andrew Johns. He stabs towards the touchline, finds touch 15 out. But there was no support, no one keen to run on the pass from Andrew.
That's what's happening. I think Newcastle, I think they've just dropped their bundle a little bit, and they need to start picking themselves up. As Paul said earlier, when Anthony Butterfield made that good tackle over there, he thought it might have lifted them up. But that's what they need. They need someone to make a good tackle or a good go forward to pick the side back up again.
And it's hard to do. It's funny when you're watching the game, you forget how tired you are when you're out there. And I think that's the factor now. The boys are very, very tired, and to do something special takes a lot of effort.
Halligan. Newcastle trailing by 10. Also remember that they trailed Penrith by 16 at half-time. So they can come back, but they have got a fair bit of work to do because Canterbury playing some extremely good football, and one of their trump cards has been Mitch Newton since he's come on. 13 or so from the halfway. Hetherington, Price.
4 tackles and Newcastle have made the halfway. That's what they've got to stop them from doing.
Polla-Mounter kicking towards Grogan's wing, and that's a deep kick too. Halligan's coming at a rate of knots. Grogan's got it for an awful moment there. I thought he was going to pass to Romeo Davis nearly twice. They drag him down inside his own 10. Masri and Halligan, that was a great chase, and it's an amazing thing, confidence, Paul Harragon.
Confidence is what it's all about, and some players thrive on it. They're playing real well at the moment. They're playing smart, no two ways about it. But as I said before, we need something special. We need a try before half-time, and we're just looking for the bloke to do it.
Glanville. Peden. Last tackle now for Newcastle, and they've made it to 25 metres out from their own line. Andrew Johns. The kick goes in. Masri in good position. Takes it extremely well too, the little fullback. Born and bred in the Belmore area. Damien Ford.
The under Bulldog change shouts this for courage. Robert Tocco returning to the field. And
Robert Relf offloads. Price puts it behind him. Glenn Hughes. Stephen Hughes. Robert Tocco back on the field for Canterbury.
And it's good to see him back on, isn't it, Mike? It's, you know, you don't like seeing those sort of injuries, so it's nice to see him back out in the park.
Polla-Mounter, 22 metres out from the Knights line. Plays it now to Hetherington. Glenn Hughes goes to the air. It's a towering bomb to O'Davis in good position. It was just a little bit too deep. And O'Davis runs it back out now for the quick restart. Canterbury are all offside. Gives it to Ainscough. Looking for something special just before half-time with 3 minutes to go. Canterbury lead by 10 and now the Knights get the penalty.
Yeah, that's what they needed, a bit of urgency in Robbie O'Davis. You know, he's a player that likes going 100 mile an hour, and that's what they've got to do. They've got to get a bit of urgency in their game. They've lost that urgency, and they need to pick it back up.
Butterfield now for Newcastle. It's been Canterbury's 40 minutes. Andrew Johns turns it back inside for Paul Marquardt, who goes straight through looking for support. Again, none there. Jackson calling that he was held down in the tackle. Now Andrew Johns. Fletcher runs the decoy. Matthew Johns turns it back inside to Glanville. Glanville now to Billy Peden. Stands it, just throws the pass anywhere. Andrew Johns can't clean up. Canterbury now can turn defence into attack. Glenn Hughes still going on. They put it on the deck. Robert Relf, they had a golden opportunity. And Andrew Johns saying, why did the pass come out there when there was no need to throw the pass?
I think what Newcastle are doing, they're waiting for the next play. Instead of backing each other up and supporting each other, they're waiting for the next play. I think they just need to start supporting each other in attack. They're letting each other down. They're waiting for the next set.
I think you find Billy is a bit injured there. That's why I got rid of the ball so quick. Problem with the knee or leg again.
Matthew Johns steps out of 1G. It's a great step. Just 5 short of the halfway. Less than 2 minutes to the half-time break here at Belmore. And Canterbury lead by 10. Butterfield tries to get his team going forward. Andrew Johns. A flat ball to Paul Marquardt. He puts it on the deck. Grogan goes back to clean up. And the knock-on's been called.
Interesting to see that. I don't know. He's gone to Canterbury. I thought it might have went the other way. I thought Canterbury actually knocked the ball on first, but I thought the Canterbury player actually knocked the ball out of Marquette's hands.
Yeah, and I think he might have just dropped it cold. There was a very flat ball and a rocket of a pass from Andrew Johns. And Paul Harragon, they looked on a couple of occasions in the last couple of minutes that they can break that defensive line, so the sign's not all doom and gloom.
Look, we expected the game to be like this. We expected them to offload and get in their plays where they're hard to handle. But I'm still I just like it to see if we don't score a try. I know it's only a matter of a minute to go now, but just let us settle down and get some confidence back before half time. And it's a long way to go yet. We'll see who wants it the most.
So Canterbury working it back into Newcastle's territory. Just centering play. Quick play that Paul wanted and given again. Polla-Mounter picks up on the run, swivels out of one, but Marquardt's got him. Drags him to ground 38 metres out from the Knights line. Here's Robert Tocco. That's a good run by the big front rower who spent some time concussed. But they throw the ball back behind them. Glenn Hughes is there, and that's a good tackle by Lee Jackson. Damien Ford puts it on the slipper. There was a Knights player in the road there. Price throws it back to Polla-Mounter. They've lost 25 metres. And Beauchamp went in for the solid tackle. Robbie O'Davis fields it 10 metres from his own life. So Polla-Mounter did well. O'Davis skirts for the sideline. Gets out of 2 tackles. The siren's gone. And Polla-Mounter will clean up for the Bulldogs and take it in a touch. And there's the first half here at Belmore. A very generous round of applause for the home team from the home crowd as Canterbury lead 14 points to 4 at half-time. Tries to Daryl Halligan and Stephen Hughes. Daryl Halligan's kicked 3 from 3. Britt Grogan has scored a try for Newcastle. Andrew Johns has none from 2. So all Canterbury in the first half, Neil Baker.
Yeah, it certainly has been, Mike, but I think Newcastle was waiting for that half-time siren to blow, and I think Malcolm really will have a few harsh words with his side to get them back out there to produce the form that we know they can play. But Canterbury are playing great football, and I think it'll be hard for them to lose this from here.
Welcome back to Belmore, 14-4 the scoreline. Canterbury a very good first 40 minutes of football, and Daryl Halligan, by scoring that try in the first half, went past Les Johns' record of 545 points here. As we have a look at some of the penalties, Canterbury 3, Newcastle 7, and a few of the crowd aren't too happy with that. 6-5, the errors in favour of Newcastle, and that was predictable. Completed sets of 6. Again, the stats tell the story. Canterbury had more pride for the footy in that first 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike, and that's where it tells the story in the stats. Newcastle have got to control the football.
Paul Harragon's been to the dressing room. Chief, what did Malcolm really say at half-time?
Mate, just the obvious, just the amount of mistakes, the play of the balls, the speed of their play of the balls is too quick. We need a larger effort, but it was very basic. The boys are tired because they've played the ball so quick. We've been backpedaling. But I tell you, I think we can muster up and win here. I really do. This game's too much important for us to do it, and I think we're going to do it.
Chris Anderson would have said to his players, just continue the way you're playing, get rid of the ball on every opportunity, just keep it going, keep pressurising the Knights.
For sure. I think that's the bottom line for them. They just got to keep doing what they do best. As I said before, they're two completely different sides. We've got to make sure we start again like we did in the first half of the first 10 minutes and just continue in the same vein.
Damien Ford taking it back out for Canterbury. A little bit more enthusiasm in Newcastle's step in the opening minute of the second half as Masri centres play for the Bulldogs. 2 tries to 1 in the first half. Hetherington. Here's big Mitch Newton. Again, pushing forward. Oh, I hate to see that. The player being bent back over a defender. But he's okay.
And he was the standout for Canterbury in the first half, I thought.
So as you can see now, Canterbury, a completely different side when they get slow play the balls. That flop on by Mitch Newton near the 3 blokes, slowed them right down, and we're in control of our sets now. Bobby Davis can do his thing.
But out of the tackle of Lamb. 30 metres out from his own line. Grogan trying to take a little bit of pressure off the forwards in from his wing. Look at the defence, pretty keen at this stage.
Paul, did Malcolm really asked you to get the go forward back in order?
Yeah, he certainly did. You know, he asked for the forward to put their hands up for the whole 40 minutes, particularly in the go forward. But as I said before, it's very hard because the boys are so drained physically. They've worked so hard in defence. There's not much left there, so it's probably left a little bit more to the wingers and the backs to do a little bit from dummy half to try and give the boys a bit of a break because they're working hard. But certainly a bigger effort from the forwards would be good.
And a towering kick once again by Andrew Johns, just holds up, but it's going to go dead in goal. The great chase there from Ainscough, and it was dead in goal. And Masri, Jamie Ainscough just sticks the hand up and says, sorry matey, I didn't see the ball at the back. So another great kick from Andrew Johns, just a little bit too deep, but Ainscough, one of the best chasers in the business, wasn't too far away from the mark, and Canterbury will get the restart on the 20. Reserve grade, 3rd loss in a row for the Newcastle Knights. The defending champions, Canterbury 20, defeated Newcastle 14, and Canterbury came from the clouds to win that one. A good win for the Bulldogs in reserve grade. Tocco run into some strong defence, got rid of the ball. Still in possession, the Bulldogs.
And there's a man that will inspire Newcastle, Tony Butterfield. He never stops all day.
Better and more solid defence from Newcastle. Markwood, one of those tacklers, short side again. Mitch Newton towards the sideline, and plenty of defence there. Finished off by Lee Jackson, just short of the halfway, Canterbury. The back line's fairly flat. Polla-Mounter gives it to Lamb. Thought about the pass, goes to ground. A last tackle now for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. Polla-Mounter on the slipper. O'Davis making good position once again, but the chasers are coming. Ford, Timu and Hughes. O'Davis just centering play and ran straight into one of the Canterbury players. I think it's Price around the throat area, and he's clutching at the neck region. Now it was Robert Tocco. He's had a solid afternoon, Tocco.
He certainly has. He's been knocked around the head a bit, so he does have to look at himself there.
Grief. That's a good go forward from the front rower. And the penalty goes to Newcastle. Bit of a leg up there for Glenn Grief. Yeah, well, Newcastle get the relieving penalty.
That's what Newcastle need, and Andrew Johns is quick to get the game going straight away. He can see the urgency is required, so let's hope Newcastle can produce now.
Former Newcastle player and captain of Newcastle, Mark Sargent, now linking up with his old club, Canterbury. Tony Butterfield, 35 metres out the Knights. Jackson, here's Markwood on the boil, and he hits it up for another 12 or 13 metres. 2 tackles, and they're really threatening Newcastle. Matthew Johns with the ball for the Red and Blues. No one to offload to. Treacy had overrun him, and the defence came at him and brought him to ground. O'Davis at dummy half. Ainscough. Doesn't make any distance at all. Hughes and Newton, the tacklers. Jackson, Matthew Johns, Andrew throws it to open space. Butterfield falls on it to retrieve the situation. Last tackle now for Newcastle. Grandstand side. Matthew Johns on the little left foot. Masri cleans up for the Bulldogs and scampers out a few metres, still going, has a Masri, and that's a good return of the footy.
That was a great run, and he's certainly got good footwork, this kid, and they've got big raps on him at Canterbury.
Eddie Ward picking the Knights for inside the 10. Chief, one of the things that seems to be falling down is the backup.
Yeah, you know, there we should have a couple of set plays there organised, ready to go for to attack their line, but basically we kind of wasted 3 of them. Again, all I can say in defence is the boys are still just tired, but that excuse is going to run out shortly. We need to get points.
Newton offloads again. Hetherington. A little gap open up, but closed pretty quickly. Butterfield and Markwood making the tackle. Polla-Mounter, Lamb, they're running in numbers and packs the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. Masri, 35 metres out from the Knights line, and the penalty goes second man into the tackle.
Well, I'll tell you what that'll do, mate. Canterbury have been holding us down for about 5 or 6 seconds every set of 6, and because they've done it all the game, he's used to it now. As soon as we get down for a decent result, he penalises us, makes it very hard.
Here it is, Glanville makes the tackle.
I think he's got Godden for second man in, Paul, but yeah, he's a bit stiff. I thought it was a bit harsh, that penalty.
Mark Glanville wasn't up yet. He was still getting up, so he wouldn't have got up any quicker. He just come down to mark him, so it doesn't make any difference to the amount of time, the quickness he would have got up.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. It was a bit stiff, that one.
So Halligan takes it within 18 metres. Hetherington. Tocco. He's held up. He's 15 metres out from the try line. Newton. Straight ahead. Big Mitch Newton. 5 metres out. Short side. Polla-Mounter. Face ball to Halligan. Couldn't control it. Picked up by Brett Grogan. And stays in the field of play. So Canterbury keen to spread it. Newcastle come up with a loose ball. Glenn Grief. And that's a good return of the football too by Glenn Grief. Long pass, Matthew Johns. And good solid defence there again from the Bulldogs.
I thought if Jamie Ainscough stayed on the outside of Matthew Johns, then it might have been a dangerous situation for Canterbury there.
Oh, and a big hit too by, there's been some solid defence. Mitch Newton and Robert Tocco. Glanville. Last tackle now for Newcastle. They're still in their own half. Andrew Johns. And Masri in pretty good position too as the ball scurries towards the sideline but stays in. Masri flirting with the sideline, picked up by Beauchamp, drags him towards the sideline, but he stays in the field of play. And we take this opportunity to say best wishes to a little mate of ours, Joshua Brown, son of Mick Brown from B&B Supplies, who donated our Man of the Match Awards for season 1995. Young Joshua hasn't been in the best of health. Josh, from all your mates here at NBN, all the very best, and we hope that you are on the road to recovery. Great young bloke, only 10 years of age, but he'll bounce back. All the best, Josh. Polla-Mounter, he's been busy. And the Knights just not making the tackle stick.
And that's what the problem is at the moment. They're allowing Canterbury to unload, and their second phase play is bringing Newcastle undone.
Wobbly old punt kick from Terry Lamb's going to find touch though. 20 from the halfway in the Knights territory. The scoreboard hasn't changed since half-time. 14-4 in favour of the Bulldogs. And we've had 8.5 minutes of play of this second stanza.
Conditions down there, Paul, they must be quite warm, mate, because both sides are definitely walking around, ain't they?
Yeah, a little bit of cloud cover starting to come over. It is pretty warm. But to tell you the truth, I don't think I've ever seen play the balls as quick as this. And no one of the Knights are tired, and so are Canterbury because they're working very hard. But play the balls, I don't know if they're illegal or what, but I've never seen some of the blokes maybe get on their knees and they're getting the ball away. It's very quick.
And that is absolutely magnificent defence from Daryl Halligan.
Yeah, he read that perfectly, Mike, didn't he? That was great. He coming off his wing and stopped Robbie Davis unloading the football and creating an overlap.
15 from the halfway. Glanville trying to inspire the Knights. Takes it to within 5 of the halfway. Matthew Johns. Gets the pass away to Bradley Godden. Good solid run from the centre, and the penalty goes second man in, so at least he's consistent with that ruling.
Yeah, well, that's what he's done there. It's the second man in, and he's penalised Canterbury for the same situation that he got Godden for earlier.
Treacy, straight to Damien Ford. Now that pass didn't need to be thrown.
I thought Newcastle were a bit stiff again, Mike. I thought he was offside, the fullback for Canterbury, and I don't believe he retired the 10 metres, so I thought another penalty was warranted there.
There's the interception by Damien Ford.
The pass was definitely not on, though.
And the play will restart 10 metres infield from where Damien Ford is lying on the ground. Terry Lamb with a restart. Mitch Newton gets the pass away again. Polla-Mounter on the ground, has to clean up. Timu just taking a little bit of pressure off the forwards for Canterbury, and that was marginal to Mitch Newton. They're back in Knights territory. Stephen Price, last tackle now for Canterbury. It's with the master Terry Lamb to Polla-Mounter. The chip in behind the defence is going to be too long, or is it? It stops in the field in the in-goal area. A fairly risky pass from Robbie O'Davis, but Grogan does well to get back into the field of play.
That was great work from Grogan to get out to where he was then. Although,
you've got to be joking. He was out in the field of play. It looks like he's going to be a field goal. That's wrong.
Here's the replay. I called it too quickly. I thought it was dead set going dead and goal. Robbie O'Davis just throws it back into Brett Grogan. Now here he goes to try and get back into the field of play.
well, he's definitely made the field of play, and I think there's a penalty warranted there anyway. I thought Polla-Mounter's come in probably third man in anyway, and I thought, mate, definitely stiff, Newcastle.
A crowd in excess of 7,000 here at Belmore today. As Andrew Johns with a restart, and El Masri jinks his way to 15 from the halfway. So things just starting to go Canterbury's way a little bit. Reardon with the ball.
I think Newton's coming off for a well-earned rest. I'd like to know what his work rate is. He's certainly carted the ball up for Canterbury today.
.22 out the Bulldogs. Polla-Mounter, Lamb, Stephen Hughes, stepped off the right foot, gives it back to Lamb. He turns it to El Masri, but it's intercepted by Jackson. Getting up slowly to play at the Great Britain hooker. Beauchamp. Ainscough. Robbie O'Davis, the little goose step, but the welcoming committee was there in Tocco and Glen Hughes. Peden on for Newcastle. Ainscough, the chip in behind. Play on, says referee Eddie Ward. El Masri. Ainscough is still down in back play.
Number 29, Fletcher.
I don't know if that kick and chase is necessary at this stage. I think they might need to get their game in order.
Damien Ford. 30 metres out, still going. Left and right steps. Good run by the man who was named at fullback, playing on the wing today. Hetherington goes to the short side. Polla-Mounter with a short ball to Halligan. And he's met in some stiff defence by Newcastle. 15 out. Britt to Lamb. Hughes. Forward pass to El Masri and picked up by Eddie Ward.
He got a little single from his touch judge then, I think, Eddie, because I think he was going to let it go.
14-4 in favour of Canterbury in the second half. So the scrum to set 20 metres out from the Newcastle Knights line. 26 minutes remaining in the match. Matthew Johns to Robbie O'Davis. And the defence of Canterbury has been excellent all day. Pede. Another pass on the ground as Canterbury decide to spread the ball. Lamb, he's taken the ground 25 out. They keep moving it through Britt on this occasion. Britt's there. Tocco. He's looking to unload straight to Bradley Godden. The Knights on the resurgent. Marquardt gives it now to Ainscough. Ainscough now in a little bit of space, but that's good defence again by Glenn Hughes.
Good play
Beauchamp. O'Davis got the ball and the arms free. Andrew Johns, Grogan. Grogan can't get around Polla-Mounter, but he's only too short of the halfway. It's end-to-end stuff at the moment. Great game of football. Here's Butterfield for Newcastle. Got out of Darren Britt's tackle. Gives it to Bradley Godden, who was hammered from over the top by Britt again.
Nice ball from Butterfield. That's what Newcastle need to do. They need to get their second phase play moving.
Olivia Shepherd there too. Matthew on the toe. Picked up by Tocco. They're trying everything for Harragon, but nothing tending to come off at the moment.
No, it's just we need to build some pressure there. A couple of sets of 6 in a row. You just notice when we've got a couple of quick play the balls and completed, we can make damage out there. We can score the tries, but as of yet, we haven't built any pressure to warrant any putting basically Canterbury under any pressure. They've had a pretty well been one way the last 20 minutes of this first half, and it's continuing to be the same.
Give some credit where credit's due from all of us. Canterbury's defence has been excellent this afternoon.
Yeah, it has. Like, obviously on one-eyed as can be, but they've played very, very well, and they're going to win a lot more games if they keep playing this way. I'll tell you, I'll give a bit of a rap to Jackson on our side. I think he's defended well. He's caught me on a few times there. Just on the honesty side of things, he's been there.
Polla-Mounter kicks in behind the defence. Grogan's there. Play on, says referee Ward. I think Brett Grogan thought he might have made a blue too.
In my eyes, Mike, I think that was a knock on, but you know, that's lucky for Newcastle, and let's hopefully they can make amends for it.
Newcastle just trying to work it out of their danger zone through Jackson. Robbie O'Davis, his workload has been excellent.
He's had a good game, Robbie, and you know, I think he produces every week anyway. But as Paul just said, that's what they need to do, to get those play the balls going, and they can score tries, Newcastle. I don't think they're out of the game, but they need to get those play the balls moving quicker.
Intercepted now. Reardon gives it off to Stephen Hughes. Stephen Hughes behind Ford. Don't know whether he got a fingertip to it. Play on, says referee Ward. He's still going to score the try. Well, Steve Reardon, who started that play, tried to link up with Damien Ford, couldn't do so. He's gone back and picked up the crumb, Stephen Reardon, and goodness gracious, he scored the try, and Canterbury lead by 18 points to 4.
Yeah, we'll have a look at this. Jamie Ainscough didn't need to throw this pass again. Reardon's intercepted. I thought at one stage there that Hughes was going to score the try himself. He looked like he was, but he ran out a bit of steam. The cover came across. He threw a shocker pass that looked like it was going into touch. Then Reardon's come across again, picked the ball up, and believe it or not, he's gone into a corner and scored a try. Jamie Ainscough's gone far too high. Should have just smothered the ball up, but Reardon scored a good try for Canterbury.
Chief?
Yeah, we've obviously at the end there, Jimmy's just relaxed a bit because the ball's on the ground and under budgeted, but you just noticed the play before that, not one of our forwards was able to take the ball out. We had 3 backs in a row, again, because they're very, very tired. So it's just been a matter of pressure that the Canterbury's built. It had to happen, and this is just a great example of their persistence. You know, the ball goes to ground, we relax for a little while, Jimmy Ainscough goes to make a regulation tackle, but they just bust through, and it's been the tail all day. You know, it's going to make it very hard for the boys to muster up something to be able to come back from here, but it's got to happen.
And there was a slight hit that he may have dropped that just as he got to the line, but he certainly grounded it with downward pressure, and I don't think there was too much doubt. But Daryl Halligan now, Ainscough has been taken from the field. Malcolm really obviously said, well, you've made a blue, son, you should have stopped that try, and you're off to have a bit of a rest. Daryl Halligan with a fairly difficult conversion attempt, strikes it, and it's not going to come around enough. So Daryl Halligan's first miss of the afternoon, and he has 3 from 4. But the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs lead 18 points to 4 with 21 minutes remaining in the match. Simon Gillies steaming out for Canterbury. It's going to be a long way for the Knights to come back from here, Neil Baker.
I think so, Mike, but Paul, I don't think you can afford to give Canterbury that much football. I think that, you know, they're turning the ball over far too much for them, mate, and I think that's what's costing them the game.
Well, the frame of mind of Canterbury at the moment, the way they play the balls, our completions were 57% in the first half, and it's way worse in the second half. Just too much ball. They're building too much pressure on us, and when we get the ball back, we're that tired from the pressure, we can't do nothing about it. So it's a catch-22. As I said in the first half, someone's got to do something special in defence to slow them down. Here they go again.
Daryl Halligan Grasped there by the Newcastle defence, and it was desperate defence. Last tackle now for the Bulldogs. Simon Gillies gives it out to Glenn Hughes. Glenn Hughes goes high in the air. Robbie O'Davis looking into the sun to try and catch this one. Takes it and takes it well. Gets out of the Simon Gillies tackle, but plenty of blue and white jumpers there to bring him to ground 10 metres out from his own line.
Another nice take from Robbie O'Davis. He's always in position. You can't take nothing away from the boy at the fullback for the Newcastle Knights. He's had a real good game, I thought.
Troy Fletcher. That's not a bad run for Newcastle. Beauchamp. Picked up and dumped. 12 metres from halfway. Andrew Johns. Matthew off the left, makes the break, gives the reverse pass to Markwood over the top to Darren Treacy. Treacy has got Grogan in support. Treacy taking it to the defence, decides to go himself and scores the try. Darren Treacy gets Newcastle back into the match. Set up beautifully by Andrew and Matthew Johns. The little pass over the top to Treacy, and Treacy with the pace of a back really did stretch the defence here of Canterbury. Here it is again.
Yeah, great footwork from Matthew Johns. The inside flick pass to Marquette, who was backing up, threw a nice ball to Andrew Johns, who tossed it over the top to Darren Treacy. He's got a ton of speed, Darren Treacy, and I think he's done exceptionally well here. He waited and waited before he unloaded the pass, and he actually threw a nice dummy where the fullback thought he was going to pass the football, and Treacy scored a nice try for Newcastle, which was sorely needed.
Andrew Johns now stepping up for the quick conversion attempt here. He's 20 metres out, about 8 in from the grandstand touchline, moves in, and Andrew Johns so far today, none from 3. The little Joey hangs his head, but the Newcastle Knights get back into the match, albeit they are 10 points in arrears, but still plenty of time to go, and Paul Harragon a much needed try for the Newcastle Knights. Treacy did very well.
Yeah, Matthew Johns made something out of nothing in, and Darren Treacy, great with the speed. If he would have thrown that ball, the try wouldn't have been on, so he done very well there. But it just goes to show, if we can just hang on to some ball and build some pressure, we can score the tries, and it's just been unbelievable the amount of ball that Canterbury's had. It's all credit to them, but I think you should see a bit of a kick from the boys now with a bit of enthusiasm. Good go forward set to be very nice at this particular time.
Daryl Halligan will restart us here at Belmore Sports Ground. As I mentioned, 18.5 minutes to go here in the match. Canterbury lead 18 points to 8, and Andrew Johns none from 3 today. You go a long way, or many games, and you won't see him miss one. Today can't get one.
I was saying earlier in the piece that Andrew Johns' strike rate is around about the 90% mark, and that's great for a goal kicker, and I think I must have put the mocker on him.
Penalty to Newcastle. Darren Britt, here it is.
Yeah, it was definitely a penalty. He wasn't even marking, he was leaning over the top of him, and it was the penalty was right from Eddie Ward. But 18-8, I think Newcastle's, they can still score plenty of points, as Paul keeps saying. They can score, and they've just got to maintain possession.
Inspirational run from Tony Butterfield. Penalties 9-4 in favour of Newcastle. There was some criticism last week that they were on the right end of the ledger against St George. 10-9 the errors. Not much difference there. 11 sets completed to 7. And Paul Harragon at the moment, that does tell a tale, doesn't it?
That tells a tale, and speed to play the balls. Whoever wins those two things there wins the game.
Troy Fletcher. A good run for the replacement forward. Jackson, backslang.
You'll notice Tony Butterfield's got a heavy cut to the facial area.
Andrew Johns touched in flight. Timu takes it very well indeed. Oh, it's Polla-Mounter.
Showed a ton of guts there, Polla-Mounter. I thought that was great take under pressure.
And Tony Butterfield now heading to the blood bin. Glenn Grief coming back on. So Tony Butterfield with a nice bit of claret flowing from the right eyebrow area. And Chief, that didn't look too flash at all.
No, hopefully they can either put some butterfly clips or stitch him up straight away. We need him. We're eating bag. So about 5 minutes should do him, I think, get him back on.
Treacy also taking a fair bit of time to get to his feet.
He copped the bump in the head, Darren. I think he had a head clash with Reardon then.
Last tackle now for Canterbury. Polla-Mounter. Matthew Gidley for Newcastle. Takes on Terry Lamb and can't beat him.
Great.
It's Jason Hetherington and Lamb. Fletcher again. He's made a bit of impact since coming on.
Yeah, his go forward's been good for Newcastle. That's what they need. They need to get that speed of the ball going.
Just one more.
Glanville. 14 from the halfway. The ball going in behind the attacking player, and Canterbury back in possession. So Matthew Johns' pass is not sticking as he'd like. Simon Gillies for Canterbury. Now the Bulldogs in an attacking position.
Yeah, this is where Newcastle got to be on their guard with their defence, because Canterbury, if they score now, it'll be all over, I feel.
Polla-Mounter. Stephen Price. Inside the 20 by a metre. Britt. Throws the ball behind him, and Newcastle now back in possession. So Canterbury just coming up with a couple of those little niggling errors there that certainly wouldn't be pleasing Chris Anderson.
No, I think Canterbury, they're playing into the hands of Newcastle by doing that. I think they should be consolidating themselves a little bit more. They are in front of the scoreboard. They don't need to force the pass like that.
That was better defence from the Bulldogs. They moved up very quickly on Glen Grief. Andrew Johns cuts out two to Matthew. Flat ball to Grogan. Can't get his pass away. Great tackle by Damien Ford right around the bootlaces. Beauchamp gives it off to Matthew Johns to Andrew. Flicks it in behind him. Robbie O'Davis sticks it on the toe back to Godden. Godden can't get out of the tackle of Johnny Timu. So Andrew with the enormous punt kick to El Masri, who takes it superbly. And a little goose step there from Hazem El Masri.
Well, what we're seeing from Newcastle is the typical situation of catch-up football. They're trying everything with the ball to try and get down the other end of the field and put some points on the board.
Tony Butterfield back on for Newcastle. Sway the bandage around the nut. Polla-Mounter. He's been in everything today, trying to get his side to go forward and continue this winning streak. Good solid run by Darren Britt. Glenn Hughes hammered over the top, and he puts it on the deck. And Tony Butterfield was pretty chuffed about that tackle.
Yeah, great tackle from Butterfield, and he's jumped up and he's revving his teammates up, and that's what they need. Let's hope Newcastle can get behind that.
Brisbane 20.
Britt again coming up with an offload, which I don't believe that he needed to do, and he put Hughes under a little bit of pressure, and Butterfield's made him pay for it with a great hit over the top. Lined him up.
It's a big shoulder charge there, Chief.
It certainly is. That's Butty's specialty, those ones.
Matthew Gidley, former Australian schoolboy, up into the top grade. Oh, and Paul Marquardt went down. Glanville held onto the ball, and Marquardt just the meat in the sandwich. Johns, Treacy. No metres gained. 31 metres out from the Canterbury line. Matthew Johns gets the pass away to Butterfield, who chucks it over the top to Andrew Johns. Left and right, gives it back to Troy Fletcher, who just throws it over the top to anyone. Marquardt did well to Andrew Johns. Now over to Beauchamp. Beauchamp's got a bit of toe. Does the correct thing coming back infield. Still going Keith Beauchamp. Now spills the ball on the toe from Jackson. Picked up by old Masri, and Canterbury back in possession, running it out of their own 20.
Just that last pass again. I don't think they need to be pushing that last pass.
Yeah, I agree. I know we've got to score and get some points, but there's still 12 minutes to go. If we just have the mentality that we just want to get a good set of six in and get a good kick in, do that a couple of times, feel some pressure, we'll score.
Timu, nowhere to go. The wall of defence from Newcastle. Darren Britt, plenty of time to build up some speed. He's made a quick 15.
That's a better run from Britt, and he did exactly what I thought he should be doing a little bit early. Instead of trying to unload, just taking the yards.
Robert Relf. Last tackle now for Canterbury, just short of the halfway. Hetherington did well. Polla-Mounter decides to go deep. The chaser is Halligan, picked up by Robbie O'Davis. Halligan's there to drag him to ground 5 metres out. Their kick chase today, Canterbury's been superb.
Yeah, that was a great chase from Daryl Halligan. He read the kick really well, and he hemmed Robbie O'Davis into a corner, and now they've got a battle to get out.
Chris Anderson, fairly unflappable. Chris Anderson, you know him pretty well.
Yeah, Chris, he's certainly done a great job with Canterbury since he's come onto the job as coach, and he'd be happy the way the boys are going out there today.
Brett Grogan, pushes off Damien Ford, but the youngster did well. Grogan goes to ground, and he hasn't moved either. Damien Ford had a quick look at him and showed some concern, and Grogan seems to be out like a light. Lee Jackson says, well, we'll leave Grogan on the ground. We've got to get restarted here pretty quickly. And he wants to go on with it. Eddie Ward just coming over, and the doctor being called for.
Yeah, I think, you know, he's done well again, Eddie Ward, there, stopping the game, because anything to do with the head's always, you know, can be serious. So it's, you know, it's well done from Eddie Ward to stop the play.
And Set Australia, one of the world's radio lines.
Just a little bit of a boot up around the head region. Gary Hughes, one of the all-time greats for Canterbury. Bradley Godden, who was just heading to the shed, finds himself having to go back on fairly quickly. We've got 10 minutes of play remaining here at the Belmore Sports Ground in the match between Canterbury and Newcastle, and Canterbury lead Newcastle 18 points to 8.
Another update thanks to 2GB. Brisbane with the kick to come. 24 all against Parramatta.
Brett Grogan being carried off. Now, Paul Harragon, you've been talking to the Knights bench down there. We believe it's a neck injury. We've got another replay here, another angle of the incident. Here it is. Chief, you might take us through and tell us the extent of the injury.
Yeah, well, as you can see, it's as he receives the ball a little bit later on here, he gets a foot into the head there. That doesn't seem to be the whole problem, because that slight concussion there, but apparently he's got something wrong with his neck. Well, that would have knocked him out. And as he's fallen, he's been knocked out. And I think he's hurt his neck again, so he's got a real problem there. They've taken every precaution to put the neck brace on, and let's hope he's okay.
He looked as though he might have jammed his neck in the ball.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. When you look at the replay there, he's got his head in the ball sort of jamming into the ground.
Canterbury, after the Newcastle Knights, Maida Blue are back in possession, 35 metres out from the Knights line. Hetherington with the ball, a little scamper from dummy half. He's played strongly today, Jason Hetherington.
He's had a great game. I thought he's been one of their best besides him and Reardon and Relf. Three workhorses.
Britt, 15 metres out. Last tackle now coming up from the Bulldogs. They're right in front of the sticks. Polla-Mounter, Lamb, little grubber kick. Beauchamp's there, takes it well, spins out a one tackle and makes a couple of metres. For a moment there I thought Terry Lamb was going to have another shot at field goal, but he'll have nightmares about the last field goal he took against Newcastle.
Yeah, he's probably thinking twice about it, Mike, for sure.
9 minutes to go in the match. Tony Butterfield for Newcastle. Canterbury lead by 10 points.
9 minutes is a lot of football, so Newcastle definitely not out of the game.
Markland, quick play the ball. Jackson, much better player when he runs from dummy half, Chief.
Yeah, he's the best in the world at it. Him and Boxhead Wallers are the two of the best hookers going around, and he's got to do a lot more of that. He's great at it.
Andrew Johns. Bill Masri over to pick up the loose ball. Back inside his own 10. Runs the 10 and runs a couple more too.
That was a good run from the fullback again, and I thought, you know, he's played strong, hasn't he?
Robert Relf. Glenn Hughes. $15 from the halfway, Canterbury. Price. Inside the Knights' territory by half a metre or so. Darren, Britt, Hetherington to Lamb. They decide to run it to Polla-Mounter. Now he puts the kick in. Robbie O'Davis having to come 15 metres across field to clean that one up. And the defence through Polla-Mounter and Timu.
Another good
Pick
kick
him
chase.
off.
Another good kick chase from Canterbury.
Matthew Gillies brought the ground 20 metres out from his own line. Robbie O'Davis, Jamie Ainscough puts the ball on the ground. Tap back, play on, Robert Relf in possession. Lamb, now out to Timu. Back to Ford. Ford spins out a one. He's still going. 9 metres out, Damien Ford. Jason Hetherington at dummy half. Decides to go himself. He's very close and has scored the try, Robert Relf. Or is it Hetherington? I think it might be Hetherington that scored the try from the dummy half position. And he really does deserve that, and that'll be the icing on the cake for Canterbury this afternoon. Jason Hetherington has had a magnificent game from the hooker's position, and he deserved that try and did it well.
He certainly has had a good game, Mike. But let's go back to the mistake that Jamie Ainscough. He didn't need to pass that ball, and Canterbury's made him pay for it with a great dummy half run from Hetherington. Another good try for Canterbury, but mistakes again. It's costing costing Newcastle the match.
Chief?
Yeah, I think that's it's a great bit of work there from Canterbury again to allow the pressure. It's a great try. They played well today, but I think that last set for us just typified our afternoon's efforts. Too many mistakes. As you can see behind the try line, there's a lot of dejected players, and it's just one of those things now. Canterbury have played a great game today. The pressure that built up is probably worthy. I think that with confidence, you've got to say they're definitely going to. I know it's still a way to go from, but they're definitely going to be top 8 contenders. And once they get there, they've done it last year. They can do it again. They're playing very good football. But that last try just, I think, from my mind, typified our effort today.
Daryl Halligan takes 2/3 of Bondi Beach in the kick, but it's across the black dot here at Belmore. And with less than 7 minutes remaining in the match, the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs lead the Newcastle Knights 24 points to 8. And it is a comprehensive performance by Canterbury. They've had all their forwards go forward this afternoon, and I think the Bulldogs forwards have overshadowed Newcastle this afternoon.
That's what when we spoke about it at the start of the day. It was the forwards. Whoever got on top in the forwards were going to get away with the game, and I thought Canterbury's forwards have played exceptionally well. And they've been well drilled. They go forwards perfect, and the speed of the play of the ball, it's knocked Newcastle around today.
5.5 minutes remaining. Mitch Newton, Polla-Mounter, Halligan down the wing. Gillies got him, and that's a good tackle by the youngster. Just short of the halfway, Daryl Halligan. He's been fairly impressive down that wing too. Forward pass from Iron and picked off by Eddie Ward.
But you look at it again, they made 50 yards in from the play of the balls. Their speed of the balls has been, as Paul keeps saying, he hasn't seen the speed of the play of the ball the way it has today. It's just been exceptional.
And Canterbury making a late replacement. The number 20 coming on is Shane Marteene, and he's replaced Stephen Hughes, who has had a foreign game. Ainscough. He's a bit pass shy, I think, at the moment, Jamie, because a couple have come unstuck today.
Yeah, well, I don't think, Jamie hasn't had the happiest of days, but, he'll bounce back. He's that sort of player. He's a good footballer, Jamie, so he'll be back next week.
Jackson. Butterfield at dummy half for Newcastle. Glenn Grief. And that defence is keen as it went at the start of the match. Andrew Johns, a great ball from Godden. Beauchamp couldn't handle. Bill Masri. Shoulder charge from Andrew Johns. Here it is.
Yeah, it's a great ball from Godden, as you said, but he couldn't handle it. It's unfortunate for the kid because there might have been an opportunity to produce something then for Newcastle, but, full credit to Canterbury's defence. It's been there all day.
Paul Marquardt swivels out of one. He's 20 metres out from the Canterbury line. Jackson. Ainscough juggles it. Matthew Johns. Down it goes again. Play on, says referee Eddie Ward. Timu throws the pass, picked up brilliantly by Simon Gillies.
That was a great pickup for a big fellow, Simon Gillies, out wide. Lovely pickup.
Reardon throws the long pass to Relf. Lamb. Tocco. And good defence there from Newcastle. And that was Jackson. Short side again.
Oh, they're hurting yourself.
Britt. He's been consistent all day. Glenn Hughes. Really, there hasn't been a bad player on the Canterbury side.
No, I don't think so, Mike. They've all, performed well today.
This is the replacement player in Marteene. Robert Relf. Probably one of the reasons why the backs should do the kicking, Neil Baker.
It certainly is, Mike. The forwards, that's what they're meant to do, go forward and do all the hard stuff and leave all the glory to the backs out wide. But, Canterbury are doing exactly what they did last year. They started off a bit slow last year, but they started to come good at the right end of the season, and don't write the Bulldogs off. I think they can be there when the whips are cracking at the end.
Glengreve. Still 38 metres out from the try line. 24-8 the score here at Belmore.
Great defence. Great defence out wide.
Troy Fletcher. Not a happy journey to the Belmore Sports Ground for Newcastle as Andrew Johns gives a beautiful ball to Ainscough. Ainscough with a little bit of pace. Jimmy Ainscough throws the pass back inside. It was touched there and Canterbury are back in possession and bundled in a touch.
One thing you can say about Jamie Ainscough, he never stops trying, does he? He's always trying to create something. Admittedly, he might make a few mistakes here and there, but here he goes again. He's always trying to do something to ignite his side, and a bit unfortunate here. I thought he would have, unlucky not to go on with it himself, but he did the right thing by unloading it back inside, and they're losing on the scoreboard now, so it's worth trying a few things anyway.
Matthew Johns gets the pass away to Robbie O'Davis. They've got an overlap here through Godden. Godden to Beauchamp. Beauchamp for the corner. Lambs ever can't stop him. And Newcastle get on the board for the second time in this second half. But it's all too much, all too late. Keithy Beauchamp scoring a good try again. They spread it and came to the grandstand side, and Beauchamp got a consolation for Newcastle.
Yeah, good try for Newcastle, and that's what they needed. Even though they've lost today, they're still trying to produce things, and there's the man in question, Matthew Johns, who I thought's been one of the outstanding players for Newcastle. He's always trying. Nice unload to Robbie O'Davis, who throws a good ball to Godden, who does the right thing and just draws the defence in. And Terry Lamb coming across in cover defence didn't have enough speed to stop Beauchamp, who scored a nice try for Newcastle.
And Andrew Johns just stepped up and banged it straight across. He's taken his time with his first three kicks and missed them, and he just put it on the sand and went bang, kicked it over. Chief, it's a long road to hoe for the Newcastle Knights because you're coming into some very, very big matches. This was a big one, as you said at the start of the game, a one that you really needed to win, but you've got the likes of Brisbane and Eastern Suburbs still to come, plus the Manleys and Canberra in the next 4 weeks.
Well, I don't think we can hate for things happen for a reason, and I think that our preparation will be much better than it was again this week. I don't really know what to say. It's hard to give an assessment of this game being so one-eyed, but they've played very well, Canterbury.
Well, Paul Harragon, we thank you very much for your comments this afternoon. It has been a comprehensive victory to the Bulldogs, and I'm sure Chief will be back on the park next week. Neil Baker, very quickly, good win for Canterbury.
Yeah, very good win for Canterbury, Mike, and as I said from the outset, the go forward for Canterbury was exceptional, and as Paul Harragon kept saying throughout the day, their play of the balls, the speed of the play of the ball was far superior, and it was just one of those days for Newcastle. They just couldn't match Canterbury's momentum.
All right, let's have a look at the scoreboard. Tries for Canterbury from Daryl Halligan, Stephen Hughes, Steve Reardon and Jason Hetherington. Daryl Halligan kicked 4 from 5 for their 24 points. For Newcastle, Brett Grogan, Darren, Treacy and Keith Beauchamp scored tries. Andrew Johns 1 from 4. The final score here at the Belmore Sports Ground, Canterbury 24 have defeated the Newcastle Knights 14.